Imagine you're flying high above a barren, sun-scorched desert in southern Peru. Below you, etched into the very earth, are colossal drawings: a spider, a monkey with a swirling tail, a hummingbird with a needle-thin beak, and strange geometric shapes that stretch for miles. These are the Nazca Lines, one of the world's most profound and baffling mysteries. They are so immense that they can only be fully appreciated from the sky. This raises a fascinating question. Why would an ancient civilization, existing 2,000 years ago, create masterpieces that they themselves could never see in their entirety? Today, we're journeying back in time to explore the secrets of the Nazca people and their enigmatic geoglyphs. Who were these people? How did they manage to create such precise, large-scale designs without the aid of modern technology? And what was their ultimate purpose? Was it a message to the gods, a celestial calendar, or something else entirely? Join me as we soar above the desert plains to unravel the puzzle of the Nazca Lines. Before we delve into the how and why, let's get to know the artists. The Nazca culture flourished in this arid region from around 100 BCE to 800 CE. They were not a vast empire like the Incas who came later, but rather a collection of chiefdoms united by a shared culture. They were brilliant farmers, developing sophisticated underground aqueducts called puquios to irrigate their crops in one of the driest places on Earth. This ingenuity is a crucial clue. It tells us they were master engineers and had a deep understanding of their landscape. They were also skilled ceramicists and weavers, and the symbols we see on their pottery and textiles often mirror the very same figures drawn in the desert. This shows a consistent and deeply ingrained set of beliefs and iconography. These weren't just random doodles in the sand. They were a core part of the Nazca identity. So, how did they do it? The technique itself is surprisingly simple, yet requires incredible precision. The Nazca desert floor is covered with a layer of reddish-brown, iron oxide-coated pebbles. By removing this dark top layer, they exposed the lighter-colored, sandy soil underneath. This contrast in color is what creates the lines. Think of it as drawing on a massive, natural sketchpad. The real genius lies in the scaling. How do you draw a perfect 500-foot-long monkey when you can only see a few feet around you? Researchers believe the Nazca used a grid system. They likely created a small, manageable design on a small plot of land, or perhaps on a piece of pottery. Then, using simple tools like wooden stakes and long ropes, they scaled up the design section by section. By establishing a central point and radiating lines outward, or by creating a large grid, they could plot points and connect them with astonishing accuracy. It was a monumental task of teamwork, planning, and meticulous measurement. The dry, windless climate of the Nazca Plateau has been the perfect guardian, preserving these delicate lines for nearly 2 millennia with very little erosion. It's a testament not only to their skill, but also to the unique environment they called home. Now for the million-dollar question: why? Why invest so much time and effort into creating art for the sky? There isn't one single answer, but several compelling theories. The most widely accepted theory connects the lines to water and agriculture. Many of the lines and geometric shapes point directly to sources of water, like the underground puquios, or toward the mountains where the rivers originate. The animal figures, like the spider, often associated with rain in Andean cultures, or the hummingbird and condor, could have been offerings or pleas to deities in the sky to send life-giving rain. From this perspective, the lines were part of elaborate rituals, giant prayers for fertility and survival, etched into the land itself. The desert floor became a sacred temple, with pathways for religious processions leading to points of spiritual significance. Another fascinating theory proposes that the Nazca Lines were a giant astronomical calendar. The late Dr. Phyllis Pitluga, an astronomer at the Adler Planetarium, dedicated her life to this idea. She suggested that some of the major figures, like the Great Spider, aligned perfectly with constellations, particularly Orion. Other lines seem to mark the positions of the sun and moon during important celestial events like the solstices. In this view, the desert floor was a massive observatory, allowing Nazca priests and shamans to track the seasons, predict planting and harvesting times, and maintain cosmic balance. It connects the Nazca's earthly survival directly to their understanding of the heavens. While not every line fits an astronomical model, the connections that do exist are too precise to be mere coincidence. Of course, where there is mystery, there are more creative theories. In the late 1960s, author Erich von Däniken famously proposed in his book Chariots of the Gods that the Nazca lines were ancient runways for extraterrestrial spacecraft. While this idea captured the public imagination and certainly sells books, it has been overwhelmingly debunked by the scientific and archaeological communities. There's no evidence to support it, and frankly, it does a disservice to the incredible ingenuity of the Nazca people themselves. The real wonder isn't that aliens might have visited, but that an ancient human culture possessed the knowledge, organization, and artistic vision to create something so magnificent on their own. The answer to the mystery lies not in the stars, but in the brilliant minds and hands of the people who lived there. Today, the Nazca lines face modern threats. Climate change is bringing uncharacteristic rain and wind to the region, which can erode the lines. The Pan-American Highway cuts directly through some of the figures, and illegal mining and settlement in the area pose a constant risk. In 2014, the environmental group Greenpeace caused significant damage to the hummingbird figure during a publicity stunt, leaving permanent footprints. It was a stark reminder of the fragility of this UNESCO World Heritage Site. Thankfully, conservation efforts are underway. Peruvian authorities, with international support, are working to protect the area. Drones and satellite imaging are now used to monitor the lines and document them in unprecedented detail, ensuring that even if the physical lines fade, a digital record will remain for future generations. So, the Nazca lines remain a beautiful enigma. They are a fusion of engineering, art, and faith. Whether they were pathways for rituals, a map of the stars, or a prayer for rain, they stand as a powerful symbol of humanity's enduring need to make its mark on the world and connect with something larger than itself. The Nazca people looked to the sky, and instead of waiting for a sign, they created one themselves, a breathtaking message written across the desert, waiting for us to read. They remind us that with simple tools, a deep understanding of nature, and a powerful vision, the possibilities are limitless. What do you think was the true purpose of the Nazca lines? Let me know your theories down in the comments below. It's a mystery that continues to inspire awe and debate. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this exploration of ancient mysteries, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more adventures into the unknown. We have so much more of our incredible world to discover together. Until next time, stay curious. Today, we're journeying deep into the cloud forests of northern Peru, to a place that rivals even the legendary Machu Picchu in its scale and mystery. Forget everything you think you know about ancient Peruvian civilizations, because we're about to explore the hidden fortress of Cuelap. High in the Andes, perched on a dramatic limestone ridge almost 10,000 feet above sea level, lies a city older than the Inca Empire itself. This is Cuelap, the magnificent capital of the Chachapoya, the warriors of the clouds. Its towering stone walls, some reaching 60 feet high, and its mysterious carvings whisper of a forgotten people who dominated these mountains for centuries. When you first approach Cuelap, it doesn't look like a city. It looks like a natural extension of the mountain itself, a colossal fortress designed to intimidate and protect. The main entrance is a masterpiece of defensive architecture. It's a narrow, funnel-shaped corridor that gradually slopes upward, forcing any invaders to enter single file, making them incredibly vulnerable to defenders stationed on the walls above. As you walk through this passage, you can feel the strategic genius of its builders. You feel small, watched, and you can almost hear the echoes of ancient centuries. Once inside, the scale of Cuelap is breathtaking. This isn't just a fort, it's a massive, sprawling city that once housed over 3,000 people. The site is divided into a lower and upper town, and it's filled with the remains of more than 400 circular stone houses. These aren't just simple huts. They were sophisticated structures, often 2 stories high, decorated with unique zigzag and rhomboid friezes that are symbolic of the Chachapoya people. Walking among these round foundations, you can picture a bustling community. Families cooking, artisans working, and children playing, all safe within these formidable walls. Unlike the Inca, who were masters of precise, mortarless stonework, the Chachapoya used millions of tons of limestone blocks, fitted together with a type of mud mortar. The result is a structure so immense that it contains 3 times the volume of stone as the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. Just think about that for a second. An ancient civilization, with no modern technology, built this monumental city in one of the most remote and challenging landscapes on Earth. How did they do it? It's a question that still baffles archaeologists today. One of the most intriguing structures within Cuelap is a solid, inverted, cone-shaped building known as El Tintero, which translates to the inkwell. Its purpose is a complete mystery. Some archaeologists believe it was a solar observatory. Its unique shape used to track solstices and other celestial events. Others suggest it was a place for high-stakes rituals or even a sophisticated water storage system. Standing beside it, you can't help but let your imagination run wild. What secrets does this strange tower hold? What ceremonies took place here under the watchful eyes of the mountain gods? The Chachapoya culture was distinct and vibrant. They were known as fierce warriors, so fierce that it took the mighty Inca Empire decades to finally conquer them in the late 15th century. But they were also skilled artisans. Scattered throughout Cuelap, you can find stone carvings of faces, serpents, and condors. These symbols offer a glimpse into their spiritual world, a world deeply connected to the natural landscape of the cloud forest. They also practiced unique burial customs, often interring their elite in cliffside tombs or sarcophagi, shaped like human figures which you can still see in the surrounding region. Even after the Inca conquest, Cuelap remained an important settlement. The Inca built their own structures inside the walls, adding another layer to the city's complex history. But with the arrival of the Spanish and the subsequent collapse of the Inca Empire, Cuelap, like so many other ancient cities, was slowly abandoned. The jungle crept back in, shrouding the city in vines and vegetation, and for centuries, the fortress of the Cloud Warriors was lost to the outside world, its existence known only to a few local communities. It wasn't until 1843 that the city was rediscovered by a local judge named Juan Crisostomo Nieto. He was exploring the region when he stumbled upon these massive, vine-covered walls. Can you imagine that moment of discovery? Pushing through the dense foliage to reveal a lost city of this magnitude. It must have felt like stepping into another world, a forgotten chapter of human history. Even today, Cuelap feels wild and untamed. It doesn't have the same crowds as Machu Picchu, which allows for a much more personal and atmospheric experience. As you wander through the silent stone circles with clouds drifting in and out of the ruins, you get a powerful sense of timelessness. You can hear the wind whistling through the ancient stones and feel the immense history of the place. It's a connection to the past that is both humbling and exhilarating. Visiting Cuelap is an adventure. Until recently, the only way to get there was a grueling, multi-hour hike or a bumpy car ride up a winding mountain road. But now, a modern cable car system glides you up the mountainside in just 20 minutes, offering spectacular panoramic views of the Utcubamba Valley below. It makes this incredible site accessible to more people, allowing its story to be shared with the world. So why should Cuelap be on your bucket list? Because it's more than just a ruin. It's a testament to human ingenuity, resilience, and the enduring power of culture. It's a place that challenges our understanding of pre-Columbian South America and reminds us that there are still so many secrets hidden in the world's most remote corners. It's a chance to walk in the footsteps of the warriors of the clouds and to wonder at the incredible civilization they built against all odds. Quelap is a story of a people who carved a kingdom from the clouds, a fortress that stood for 1,000 years, and a mystery that continues to captivate us today. It's a powerful reminder that history is not just found in books, but is written in stone, waiting for us to come and read it. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey to the hidden fortress of Quelap. I hope it's inspired you to look beyond the famous landmarks and seek out the lesser-known wonders of our world. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious. Have you ever stood before something so massive, so ancient, that it completely rewrites your sense of time and human history? Today, we're journeying to the heart of Mexico, to a place shrouded in mystery and wonder, to stand in the shadow of a true giant, the Pyramid of the Sun in the ancient city of Teotihuacan. Imagine a sprawling city, one of the largest in the ancient world, thriving over 1,000 years before the Aztecs even rose to power. Now, picture its centerpiece, a colossal pyramid reaching for the heavens. That's the Pyramid of the Sun. At over 216 feet tall, with a base nearly as large as the Great Pyramid of Giza, this structure is an absolute marvel of engineering and ambition. But the most incredible part? We don't know for sure who built it. The civilization that raised this monument vanished long before the Aztecs discovered the city and gave it its name, Teotihuacan, which means the place where the gods were created. The Aztecs were so awestruck by what they found that they believed it could only be the work of gods, not men. They named the two main pyramids after the sun and the moon, and incorporated this abandoned city into their own cosmology. But the original builders, their language, their culture, their original name for this city, all lost to time. It's like finding an entire metropolis on another planet. So how did a pre-industrial society, without metal tools, the wheel for transport, or pack animals, construct something on this scale? The pyramid is made of nearly 2.5 million tons of material. It's built in a talud tablero style, with sloping bases topped by vertical panels, creating a tiered effect that seems to climb into the sky. The entire structure was originally covered in plaster and painted with vibrant murals, likely of jaguars, stars, and other sacred symbols. Imagine what it must have looked like in its prime, gleaming white and red under the Mexican sun, a truly divine sight. The construction itself is a testament to incredible planning. Geologists have found that the builders used locally sourced volcanic rock and adobe bricks. They would have quarried massive stones, shaped them, and then moved them into place using sheer human power. Thousands of laborers working together in a coordinated effort that would have spanned decades, maybe even a century. Think about the level of social organization, mathematical knowledge, and astronomical alignment required. This wasn't just piling up rocks. It was a deeply sacred and scientific undertaking. Speaking of alignment, the Pyramid of the Sun is perfectly positioned in relation to celestial events. It's oriented to face the point on the horizon where the sun sets on two specific days of the year, August 12th and April 29th. These dates are significant in Mesoamerican calendars, marking key agricultural moments. The pyramid wasn't just a temple. It was a giant cosmic clock, connecting the people on Earth to the cycles of the heavens. It reinforces the idea that this structure was central to the spiritual and daily life of the city, its inhabitants. But what lies beneath this massive structure? For years, archaeologists suspected there was more to the pyramid than meets the eye. In the 1970s, a team exploring the site discovered a hidden entrance at the base of the pyramid. This led to a tunnel, almost 330 feet long, that runs directly underneath the center of the pyramid and ends in a clover-leaf-shaped chamber. This wasn't a natural cave. It was carved by human hands long before the pyramid was even built. It seems the pyramid was intentionally constructed over this sacred underground space. What was this chamber for? Theories range from it being a royal tomb to a symbolic womb from which humanity emerged, a common theme in Mesoamerican creation myths. Inside, archaeologists found offerings and artifacts suggesting it was a place of powerful rituals. This discovery changed everything. It showed that the pyramid wasn't just built on the ground, but was anchored to a sacred subterranean world, connecting the heavens, the earth, and the underworld in one monumental axis. Climbing the Pyramid of the Sun today is an unforgettable experience. There are 248 steps to the top, and as you ascend, the sheer scale of the city of Teotihuacan unfolds around you. You see the Avenue of the Dead, a wide central road stretching for miles, flanked by smaller temples and elite residences. In the distance, you can see the equally impressive Pyramid of the Moon and the Temple of the Feathered Serpent. From this vantage point, you can truly appreciate the genius of the city's urban planners. It was a grid-based metropolis that, at its peak around 450 AD, was home to over 100,000 people, making it one of the most populous cities on Earth at the time. Standing on the summit, where a temple would have once stood, you can almost feel the energy of the place. You can imagine priests conducting ceremonies, astronomers tracking the stars, and the city bustling with life below. It's a powerful reminder of the incredible achievements of this lost civilization. They were masters of architecture, art, and urban design, and yet we still know so little about them. Why did they abandon their magnificent city around 550 AD? Was it invasion, internal conflict, climate change, or a combination of factors? The mysteries of Teotihuacan are as vast as the city itself. The Pyramid of the Sun is more than just an ancient ruin. It's a profound statement about human potential and our enduring quest to understand our place in the cosmos. It challenges our perceptions of history, proving that sophisticated, powerful civilizations can rise and fall, leaving behind puzzles that continue to captivate us thousands of years later. It reminds us that there are still so many stories buried beneath the earth, waiting to be told. So, if you ever get the chance, come to Teotihuacan. Climb those ancient steps, feel the sun on your face, and connect with a history that is both epic and deeply human. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey to the Pyramid of the Sun. If you enjoyed this exploration into the ancient world, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more adventures into history's greatest mysteries. Let me know in the comments what ancient site you'd like to see us cover next. Until then, keep exploring. Today, we're journeying deep into the heart of the Guatemalan jungle, to a place where stone giants sleep and the whispers of a lost civilization still echo through the trees. We're exploring the magnificent, mysterious, and ultimately abandoned city of Tikal. Imagine this. You're walking through a dense, humid rainforest. The air is alive with the calls of howler monkeys and the flutter of toucans. Suddenly, through a break in the trees, you see it. A colossal stone pyramid, its peak piercing the green canopy, reaching for the heavens just as it did over 1,000 years ago. This isn't a scene from a movie. This is the reality of Tikal, once a bustling metropolis, the capital of one of the most powerful kingdoms of the ancient Maya. For over a millennium, Tikal was a powerhouse. It was a center of art, astronomy, and immense political influence. Its kings, with names like Jasau Chan Kawil I, commissioned these breathtaking temples, not just as places of worship, but as powerful statements of their divine right to rule. Think of this place not as ruins, but as a thriving city of up to 90,000 people. The Great Plaza, which we see today, would have been plastered, painted in vibrant reds, and packed with merchants, priests, nobles, and citizens, all living their lives under the watchful eyes of these stone pyramids. Let's talk about these incredible structures. You're looking at Temple 1, the Temple of the Great Jaguar. This iconic pyramid rises nearly 150 feet and serves as the tomb of a great ruler. Can you imagine the sheer human effort it took to build this without metal tools, wheels, or beasts of burden? Each stone was quarried, moved, and set in place by hand, a testament to the Mayas' incredible engineering skills and their devotion to their gods and kings. Across the plaza stands Temple 2, the Temple of the Masks, a tribute to the king's wife. Together, they form a celestial theater, aligned with the movements of the sun and stars. The Maya were master astronomers, and their city was a living calendar. Climbing to the top of Temple Fu, the tallest pre-Columbian structure in the Americas, is an experience you'll never forget. As you emerge above the jungle canopy, the view is simply breathtaking. A sea of green stretches to the horizon, punctuated only by the stony peaks of other temples. From up here, you can truly appreciate the scale of Tikal. It wasn't just a ceremonial center, it was a sprawling urban landscape with causeways, known as Sakbiob, connecting different parts of the city like ancient highways through the jungle. There were palaces, ball courts where the sacred Mesoamerican ball game was played, and residential complexes for the city's inhabitants. Life in Tikal was rich and complex. The Maya had a sophisticated writing system, one of the few fully developed scripts in the ancient Americas. Their carved stone monuments, or stelae, tell stories of royal succession, cosmic events, and brutal warfare with rival city-states like Calakmul. They were brilliant mathematicians who developed the concept of zero independently, and their calendars were incredibly precise, tracking both earthly seasons and vast celestial cycles. You can feel that intellectual and spiritual energy still humming in the air here. Every carving, every alignment, had a purpose, connecting the human world with the divine. But then, something happened. Around the 9th century AD, the story of Tikal takes a dark and mysterious turn. The construction of grand monuments ceased. The intricate carvings on stelae stopped. One by one, the people of Tikal began to leave. The palaces grew silent. The plazas emptied, and the once mighty city was slowly, relentlessly swallowed by the jungle. This is Tikal's greatest enigma. Why was it abandoned? There's no single, simple answer, and archaeologists have debated it for decades. It was likely a perfect storm of devastating factors. Prolonged periods of intense drought, revealed through analysis of lake sediments, would have crippled their agriculture. A city this large depended on sophisticated water management, and when the rains failed, the reservoirs dried up, leading to crop failure and famine. This environmental crisis was likely exacerbated by the city's own success. Centuries of deforestation to clear land for farming and to burn limestone for plaster would have led to soil erosion and worsened the effects of the drought. Alongside this ecological collapse, evidence suggests escalating warfare and political instability. The rigid social structure, with a divine king at its head, may have crumbled when the rulers could no longer promise prosperity and appease the gods. The system that built Tikal ultimately couldn't sustain it. So, the people left. They didn't vanish, they dispersed into smaller settlements, adapting to a new way of life. For nearly 1,000 years, Tikal was left to the jungle. Its stone temples became homes for jaguars and monkeys, its plazas covered in soil and roots. It became a legend, a lost city whispered about in local folklore, until its rediscovery by explorers in the 19th century began to peel back the layers of time. Today, walking through Tikal is like stepping between two worlds. You're in a protected national park, a vibrant ecosystem teeming with life, but you're also walking through the ghost of a powerful empire. You can feel the weight of history in the silence between the howler monkey's calls. You see the battle between nature and human creation, as giant ceiba trees, sacred to the Maya, wrap their roots around ancient stones. Tikal isn't just a collection of ruins. It's a powerful reminder of the cyclical nature of civilization, of rise and fall, and of the enduring power of the natural world. It stands as a profound lesson that even the mightiest empires are not permanent and are ultimately subject to the forces of nature. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to the heart of the Maya world. The story of Tikal is a compelling chapter in human history, and there's still so much more to uncover. If you enjoyed this adventure, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration. Until next time, keep exploring. Today, we're journeying deep into the lush jungles of Costa Rica, to the Diquís Delta, to uncover a puzzle that has stumped archaeologists and historians for decades: the Great Stone Spheres. Imagine trekking through dense rainforest, the air thick with the sounds of exotic birds and the scent of damp earth. Suddenly, you stumble upon it, a perfectly spherical stone, smooth and massive, sitting silently amidst the ancient trees. Now, imagine finding hundreds of them. This isn't a movie scene, it's a real-life enigma. These incredible artifacts, known locally as Las Bolas, range in size from just a few centimeters to over 2 meters in diameter, with the largest weighing a staggering 16 tons. That's heavier than 2 adult elephants. They are scattered across the Diquís Delta region on Costa Rica's Pacific coast, and their sheer perfection is mind-boggling. Most are carved from a hard, igneous rock called granodiorite, and their spherical accuracy is so precise that it is hard to believe they were crafted by an ancient civilization without modern technology. So, who made them? And, more importantly, why? The spheres are attributed to the ancient Diquís culture, a pre-Columbian civilization that flourished in this region from around 700 AD to 1530 AD. These people vanished shortly after the Spanish conquest, leaving behind very few clues about their society, except for these magnificent stone balls. Without any written records, we're left to piece together the story from the objects themselves. The process of creating these spheres is a mystery in itself. The nearest quarry for the granodiorite is miles away, often separated by difficult mountainous terrain. How did the Diquís people transport these multi-ton blocks of stone? And how did they achieve such incredible roundness and smoothness using only primitive tools? Experts speculate they used a combination of heating and cooling to fracture the rock, followed by meticulous chipping, pecking, and grinding with stone tools. Then they likely polished them with sand or leather. This would have been an incredibly labor-intensive process, requiring generations of dedication and skill. It wasn't just a hobby, it was a deeply significant cultural practice. This leads us to the biggest question of all: what was their purpose? The theories are as varied as they are fascinating. When they were first rediscovered in the 1930s by a fruit company clearing land for banana plantations, workers, fueled by local legends of hidden gold, dynamited several spheres, only to find them solid rock. This unfortunately destroyed priceless historical artifacts. One of the most popular theories is that the spheres had astronomical significance. Some researchers have suggested they were arranged in alignments to track the movement of the sun, moon, and stars, functioning as a giant celestial calendar or navigational tool. Imagine ancient priests using these giant stones to predict solstices or eclipses. However, because most of the spheres have been moved from their original locations over the centuries, to grace the lawns of wealthy collectors or government buildings, confirming these astronomical alignments has become nearly impossible. Another compelling idea is that they served as status symbols or markers of power for tribal chiefs and important settlements. A village possessing a large, perfectly crafted sphere would have been demonstrating its wealth, technological prowess, and the strength of its community. The spheres could have also been used to mark territorial boundaries between different chiefdoms. Silent, imposing guardians communicação their lands. There are also theories that tie them to religious or ceremonial rituals. Were they representations of a creator deity? Or perhaps stand-ins for the sun and moon in sacred ceremonies? Some have even suggested they were used in ancient games or rituals that we can't even begin to imagine. The truth is, they could have served multiple purposes at once, part status symbol, part calendar, and part sacred object. In 2014, UNESCO recognized the importance of this mystery by declaring the pre-Columbian chiefdom settlements with stone spheres of the Diquis as a World Heritage Site. This has helped to protect the remaining spheres and their original placements at 4 key archaeological sites: Finca 6, Batambal, El Silencio, and Grigalba 2. At Finca 6, archaeologists have found some spheres still in their original alignment, offering our best chance to finally decode their meaning. What's so captivating about the stone spheres is that they challenge our perceptions of ancient peoples. They are a testament to the ingenuity, artistry, and organizational skills of the Diquis culture. They prove that you do not need lasers and advanced machinery to create objects of profound beauty and precision. All you need is time, dedication, and a deep cultural purpose. The spheres are a humble reminder that there is still so much we don't know about our own past. They sit in the jungle, silent witnesses to a lost world, inviting us to wonder, to speculate, and to dig deeper. They are not just rocks. They are a legacy, a question carved in stone that continues to resonate through the centuries. What do you think they were for? Drop your theories in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey to Costa Rica. If you enjoyed unraveling this ancient puzzle, please hit that like button. And do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next adventure into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious. Imagine, high in the sheer cliffs of Colorado, entire cities carved directly into the rock. Stone towers reaching for the sky, intricate homes stacked one on top of the other, all tucked away in massive natural alcoves. These aren't ruins from a fantasy novel. This is Mesa Verde, one of the most breathtaking and mysterious archaeological sites in the world. For over 700 years, this was home to the ancestral Pueblo people. They were master builders, skilled farmers, and artists, creating a thriving society in a place most would consider uninhabitable. But the biggest mystery of all isn't how they lived here, but why they left. Around the year 1300, after centuries of building this incredible civilization, they just walked away. The villages were abandoned, the plazas fell silent, and it was as if an entire people vanished into thin air, leaving behind these silent stone cities in the cliffs. What could have driven them to leave their homes, their sacred spaces, their entire world behind? Today, we're going to explore the stunning cliff dwellings of Mesa Verde and try to unravel the secrets of their sudden disappearance. Let's step back in time. The story of Mesa Verde doesn't start with these spectacular cliff dwellings. For the first 600 years, from about 550 to 1150 AD, the ancestral Pueblo people lived on top of the mesa, not within its cliffs. They were pioneers, transitioning from a nomadic, hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a settled agricultural one. They started with simple pit houses, dug partially into the earth and covered with a wooden framework. These early communities were the foundation of everything that was to come. They learned to cultivate corn, beans, and squash on the mesa tops, developing sophisticated techniques like check dams and reservoirs to manage the precious water in this arid landscape. Their society grew more complex, their pottery became more ornate, and their villages expanded. You can still see the evidence of this vibrant life on the mesa top today. They were thriving, building a culture that was deeply connected to the land. So what changed? Why, after centuries of living successfully on the surface, did they suddenly decide to move into the precarious, hard-to-reach cliff alcoves below? That's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Around the year 1190, a massive shift occurred. The people of Mesa Verde began constructing their now famous cliff dwellings. Think about the incredible effort this would have required. They had to quarry sandstone blocks, mix mortar from soil, water, and ash, and haul all these materials down sheer cliff faces using ropes and their own strength. They built multi-story structures, perfectly fitted into the natural curves of the rock alcoves. Some of these villages had over 150 rooms. The most famous, Cliff Palace, is an architectural marvel. It wasn't just a collection of houses. It was a complete community with living quarters, storage rooms, and ceremonial kivas, circular subterranean rooms that were the spiritual heart of the village. Another site, Balcony House, is a testament to their defensive ingenuity. To get in, you have to climb a 32-foot ladder, crawl through a tight tunnel, and scale stone steps carved into the cliff face. It's clear these weren't just homes. They were fortresses. This move into the cliffs suggests a growing need for security and defense. The question is, security from what, or from whom? Life in the cliff dwellings must have been a daily challenge. Imagine raising children in a place where a wrong step could mean a fatal fall. Farming was done on the mesa tops above, so every day involved strenuous climbs up and down hand- and toe-hold trails carved into the rock just to tend crops or hunt. Water had to be collected from seeps within the cliffs, a resource that was finite and precious. Yet, for about 100 years, this civilization flourished. Their social structures became more complex, their craftsmanship reached its peak, and their spiritual life, centered in the kivas, deepened. It was the golden age of the Mesa Verde culture. The architecture is so precise, aligning with solar and lunar events, showing they were not just builders, but astronomers. They created a world that was both practical and sacred, a fortress and a home, suspended between earth and sky. But this golden age was destined to be incredibly brief. The very factors that may have driven them into the cliffs were about to catch up with them. Then, just as suddenly as they moved in, they moved out. By the year 1300, the entire region was empty. Mesa Verde's cliff dwellings were left perfectly preserved, but eerily silent. Pots were left on the fire. Tools were laid out as if ready for the next day's work. It wasn't a scene of destruction or battle. It was a scene of departure. So, what happened? Archaeologists believe it wasn't one single event, but a perfect storm of devastating factors. The most significant was a massive 24-year-long drought that began in 1276. Tree ring data shows this was one of the worst droughts in centuries. Crops would have failed year after year, leading to widespread famine. The reservoirs dried up, and the small seeps in the cliffs would have slowed to a trickle. This environmental crisis likely amplified social tensions. With dwindling resources, conflict between villages or even within them would have become more common. The defensive nature of the cliff dwelling suddenly makes a lot more sense. They were likely defending not just from outside invaders, but from desperate neighbors. The strain on their society must have been immense. Faced with starvation, conflict, and a spiritual crisis, perhaps believing the gods had abandoned them, the people of Mesa Verde made a difficult choice. They decided to leave. This wasn't a panicked flight, but likely a planned migration over a period of years. Families would have packed what they could carry and journeyed south, seeking water and a new home. They didn't vanish. They moved. Their descendants are the Pueblo people of today, living in communities across Arizona and New Mexico, like the Hopi, Zuni, and the Rio Grande Pueblos. Their oral traditions tell stories of migrations, of ancestors who lived in the cliff houses to the north. So the mystery of the vanished people is solved. They're not gone, they just relocated. They carried their culture, their skills, and their spirit with them, adapting and surviving, as they always had. The cliff dwellings weren't a final chapter, but a dramatic episode in a much longer story of resilience. For centuries after their departure, the cliff dwellings remained a secret, known only to a few local Ute people. It wasn't until the late 1880s that they were rediscovered by local ranchers, Richard Wetherill and Charlie Mason. Can you imagine stumbling upon these silent cities for the first time? They were stunned. News of their discovery spread like wildfire, and sadly, this led to a period of rampant artifact hunting and damage to the sites. Thankfully, the historical importance of Mesa Verde was quickly recognized. In 1906, President Theodore Roosevelt stepped in and established Mesa Verde National Park, making it the first national park created to preserve the works of man. This act of preservation was crucial. It saved the cliff dwellings from being lost forever and allowed for the careful archaeological work that has helped us understand the incredible story of the people who built them. Today, visiting Mesa Verde is an unforgettable experience. When you stand in Cliff Palace or climb the ladders into Balcony House, you're not just looking at old stones. You're connecting with a history that is thousands of years old. You can feel the presence of the people who lived there. You can see the fingerprints in the mortar. You can look out at the same vast canyon views they saw every single day. It's a powerful reminder of human ingenuity, resilience, and our deep connection to the environment. The story of Mesa Verde is a cautionary tale about climate change and resource management, but it's also a story of survival and adaptation. The ancestral Pueblo people didn't fail. They made a wise decision to move on to ensure the survival of their culture. Their legacy isn't just in the stone cities they left behind, but in the vibrant Pueblo communities that thrive today. Mesa Verde teaches us that a home is more than just a structure. It's a community, a culture, and a connection to the land. The ancestral Pueblo people built a civilization against all odds, and when that home could no longer sustain them, they had the courage to seek a new one. Their silent cities in the cliffs are not a monument to a lost people, but a testament to a journey that continues to this day. They are a treasure of human history, a window into a world that was, and a powerful story etched in stone. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the cliffs of Mesa Verde. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into the world's most incredible places. Let me know in the comments which historical mystery you'd like me to explore next. Thanks for watching. Have you ever stood in a place so ancient you could almost hear the whispers of the past on the wind? Imagine a giant grassy serpent over a quarter of a mile long, uncoiling across the landscape. This isn't a fantasy. It's the Great Serpent Mound in rural Ohio, one of the most mysterious and awe-inspiring ancient sites in the world. Today, we're going on a journey back in time to unravel the secrets of this massive earthwork. Who built it? Why a serpent? And how did a prehistoric culture, without modern technology, create a monument that perfectly aligns with the sun and the stars? Get ready, because the answers will change the way you see ancient America forever. The first time you see the Serpent Mound, it's breathtaking. From the ground, it's a series of rolling, grassy humps. But from above, the true form is revealed. A magnificent serpent, its head open as if swallowing an egg-shaped oval, its body slithering in 7 graceful curves, ending in a tightly coiled tail. It stretches for more than 300 feet. To put that in perspective, that's longer than 3 football fields. This isn't just a pile of dirt. It's a masterpiece of landscape art, sculpted with incredible precision. For centuries, the mound's origins were shrouded in mystery. Who were these master builders? Early theories pointed to various cultures, but modern archaeology has narrowed it down. The most recent studies suggest 2 main possibilities. The first is the Adena culture, who lived in this region around 300 BC. They were known for their conical burial mounds, and some evidence at the site points to them. However, another compelling theory, backed by more recent radiocarbon dating, suggests the mound was built or at least significantly modified by the Fort Ancient culture around 1070 AD. This date is fascinating because, in 1066, Halley's Comet blazed across the sky. Could this celestial spectacle have inspired the Fort Ancient people to create an effigy of a serpent-like object in the heavens? Imagine witnessing such an event and feeling compelled to immortalize it in the earth itself. It's a powerful idea. But the real magic of the Serpent Mound isn't just its shape, it's its connection to the cosmos. This is where things get truly mind-blowing. The builders were expert astronomers. The head of the serpent aligns perfectly with the sunset on the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. Picture ancient people gathered here, watching as the sun dips below the horizon, seemingly swallowed by the serpent's open jaws. It must have been a powerful, deeply spiritual ceremony. And that's not all. The curves of the serpent's body also appear to align with the rising points of the sun on the equinoxes and the winter solstice. Even the coiled tail points towards true north. This isn't a coincidence. This is a sophisticated astronomical calendar, built into the very land. It demonstrates a profound understanding of celestial cycles, a knowledge system passed down through generations. They didn't have telescopes or computers. They had keen observation, patience, and a deep connection to the natural world. So, what was the purpose of all this? Was it a temple? A ritual site? A guide for agriculture? The oval shape in front of the serpent's head is particularly intriguing. Some archaeologists believe it represents the sun, or perhaps a cosmic egg, symbolizing creation and the cycle of life and death. Others suggest the serpent itself represents a powerful deity or spirit, common in many Native American belief systems. The serpent is often associated with water, the underworld, and renewal, as it sheds its skin. Building this effigy could have been a way to honor these forces, to ensure fertility for the land, or to mark a place of sacred power. Think about the effort involved. It's estimated that it took thousands of man-hours to construct. People had to move tons of earth, clay, and rock, using nothing more than woven baskets and stone tools. This wasn't a practical structure like a fort or a village. It was a communal act of faith, art, and science all rolled into one. It tells us that the people who built it had a complex society, with organized labor and a shared spiritual vision powerful enough to motivate a project of this scale. Standing on the observation tower today, looking down at the serpent, you can't help but feel a sense of connection to those ancient builders. They looked at the same sun, the same moon, and the same stars. They asked the same big questions about our place in the universe. The Serpent Mound is their answer, written not in words, but in the earth itself. It's a testament to their ingenuity, their spirituality, and their mastery of the world around them. The site is now a National Historic Landmark and is on the tentative list to become a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognizing its universal importance. It serves as a powerful reminder that the history of North America is far richer and more complex than what we often learn in school. Long before European settlers arrived, sophisticated cultures were thriving, creating incredible works that rivaled those of ancient Egypt or Stonehenge. The Great Serpent Mound is more than just an archaeological site. It's a bridge to a forgotten world. It challenges our perceptions of primitive people and shows us that ancient Americans were not just survivors, but also brilliant astronomers, engineers, and artists. They understood the cosmos in a way that was both scientific and spiritual, a balance we often struggle to find today. Their legacy, etched into the Ohio landscape, invites us to look up at the stars and remember the ancient wisdom hidden in the earth beneath our feet. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to the Great Serpent Mound. What do you think this incredible structure was for? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more mysteries of the ancient world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious. Have you ever heard of a place that completely rewrites what you thought you knew about ancient history? Today, we're journeying high into the Andes Mountains of Bolivia, to a site that has baffled archaeologists and engineers for centuries. Welcome to Tiwanaku and its even more enigmatic neighbor, Puma Punku. Imagine this. You're standing at 13,000 feet above sea level, where the air is thin and the landscape is stark and beautiful. All around you are colossal stone blocks, some weighing over 100 tons. These aren't just rough-hewn boulders. They are carved with a precision that seems utterly impossible for a civilization that supposedly existed thousands of years ago. This is the mystery of Tiwanaku, once the capital of a vast and powerful pre-Incan empire. For over 1,000 years, this was a major spiritual and political center. But what truly sets it apart is the mind-boggling engineering. The most famous structure here is the Gateway of the Sun, carved from a single massive block of andesite. Its intricate carvings depict a mysterious deity, often called the staff god, surrounded by other figures. It's not just art. It's a story frozen in stone, a story we're still trying to fully understand. Was it a calendar? A religious icon? The gateway to another world? The questions are as monumental as the structure itself. The city of Tiwanaku was meticulously planned, with complex drainage systems, sunken temples, and imposing pyramids like the Akapana. This pyramid was once covered in metal plates and housed sacred objects, acting as the spiritual heart of the empire. The people of Tiwanaku were master astronomers and farmers, developing sophisticated agricultural techniques to thrive in this harsh, high-altitude environment. They built a society that was prosperous and influential long before the Incas rose to power. But if Tiwanaku is impressive, what lies just a stone's throw away is even more jaw-dropping. Let's walk over to Puma Punku. The name means Door of the Puma, and what you find here feels less like an ancient ruin and more like a cosmic Lego set for giants. Scattered across the altiplano are enormous H-shaped blocks, all uniform in design and cut from diorite and red sandstone, some of the hardest stones on Earth. These blocks are crafted with perfectly straight edges, smooth faces, and precise right angles. Modern engineers with laser-guided tools would be proud of this level of craftsmanship. How was this achieved thousands of years ago, without metal tools as we know them? Some of these stones have intricate, interlocking cuts that fit together so perfectly you can't slip a piece of paper between them. They were designed to connect like puzzle pieces, suggesting they were part of a much larger, complex structure. But what was that structure? And how were these stones, weighing up to 130 tons, quarried and transported from miles away, then lifted and placed with such accuracy? The official story suggests log rollers and manpower, but at 13,000 feet, where large trees don't grow and the physical exertion is immense, that explanation starts to feel inadequate. This is where the speculation gets really interesting. The precision of Puma Punku has led many to question the conventional timeline of human technological development. Could the builders of Tiwanaku and Puma Punku have possessed a form of advanced technology we don't yet understand? Some theories suggest they had knowledge of advanced mathematics and engineering passed down from an even older, lost civilization. Others, more controversially, propose the idea of ancient alien theorists, that perhaps they had help from off-world visitors. Look closely at these cuts. You'll see incredibly fine grooves and perfectly drilled holes. It looks as though they were made with power tools. Did they have a way to soften the stone? Or did they possess tools far beyond the simple hammers and chisels we attribute to them? The mystery deepens when you realize the site was apparently destroyed by a cataclysmic event, perhaps a great flood or earthquake, which scattered these massive blocks like children's toys. The ruins we see today are just the chaotic aftermath of a once magnificent complex. What we do know is that the Tiwanaku civilization was incredibly sophisticated. They understood architecture, astronomy, and agriculture on a level that allowed them to build a thriving metropolis in one of the world's most challenging environments. They created a culture that influenced the entire Andean region for centuries, leaving a legacy that even the mighty Incas respected and drew upon. The Incas themselves believed Tiwanaku was the place where the world was created, where the creator god Viracocha brought forth the sun, the moon, and the first people. But the question remains, how did they build Puma Punku? Was it purely human ingenuity, pushed to its absolute limit? Or is there a piece of the puzzle we're missing? Could the legends of gods who could move mountains with sound or light hold a kernel of truth, a forgotten memory of a lost technology? Walking through these sites, you can't help but feel a sense of awe and humility. You're standing in the footprint of giants in a place that defies easy explanation. It challenges our assumptions about the past and forces us to consider that our ancient ancestors might have been far more capable than we give them credit for. Tiwanaku and Pumapunku are more than just ruins. They are a profound question carved in stone. A question that asks us to rethink the very timeline of civilization on our planet. Were there advanced societies in our deep past that rose and fell, leaving behind only these enigmatic clues? Perhaps the answers aren't lost, but simply waiting for us to ask the right questions and look at the evidence with an open mind. The incredible engineering here isn't just a historical curiosity, it's an invitation to wonder. It pushes us to explore, to question, and to imagine the possibilities. Maybe one day we will finally unlock the secrets of these stone giants and understand the true story of the master builders of the Andes. What do you think? How were these incredible structures built? Was it genius human engineering, lost ancient technology, or something else entirely? Let me know your theories in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this incredible mystery. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey to the high plains of Bolivia. If you enjoyed this exploration of ancient mysteries, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious. Have you ever looked at an ancient statue and felt like it was looking right back at you, holding a secret thousands of years old? Deep in the tropical lowlands of south-central Mexico, that feeling is magnified because the secrets are being held by giants. These are the Olmec colossal heads, and they are one of the most baffling and magnificent mysteries of the ancient world. Imagine trekking through the dense jungle, the air thick with humidity and the sounds of wildlife. Suddenly, you come face to face with a massive stone head, taller than a person, weighing as much as several elephants. Its features are incredibly detailed. Full lips, a broad nose, and eyes that seem to hold the wisdom of ages. There are 17 of these incredible sculptures known to exist, and each one is unique, believed to be a portrait of a powerful Olmec ruler. But here's where the mystery deepens. The Olmec civilization, considered the mother culture of Mesoamerica, flourished between 1500 and 400 BC. That means these heads were carved over 3,000 years ago. The stone they used is volcanic basalt, an incredibly hard rock. How did they carve such intricate and realistic portraits without metal tools? Archaeologists believe they used handheld stone hammers and polishers, a process that would have required immense skill, patience, and a staggering amount of time. Think about the dedication it would take to shape a 40-ton boulder into a lifelike face using only other rocks. The sheer scale of this operation is mind-boggling. The quarries where the basalt was sourced are located up to 150 kilometers away from where the heads were ultimately placed. How did the Olmec transport these monumental blocks of stone across rivers, swamps, and rugged terrain? They didn't have wheeled vehicles or beasts of burden like oxen. The prevailing theory suggests they may have used large balsa wood rafts to float the stones down rivers during flood seasons and then drag them overland on sledges with massive teams of laborers. It would have been an epic feat of engineering and human power, a community effort on a scale that's hard to comprehend today. Now, let's talk about the faces themselves. This is perhaps the most debated aspect of the Olmec heads. Many observers have pointed out that the features, the broad noses and full lips, appear to have African characteristics. This has led to some fascinating, though highly controversial theories. Could there have been contact between Africa and the Americas thousands of years before Columbus? Proponents of this idea suggest that ancient mariners from Africa might have crossed the Atlantic, bringing their culture and knowledge with them. They point to the facial features as direct evidence of this pre-Columbian contact. However, the vast majority of mainstream archaeologists and historians disagree. They argue that the features are not African at all, but are instead realistic depictions of the local indigenous people of the Tabasco and Veracruz regions of Mexico. They explain that similar facial characteristics can be found in a wide variety of populations around the world, and their appearance on the heads is simply a reflection of the Olmec people's own physical traits. They also point out that there is absolutely no other archaeological evidence, no African artifacts, no DNA evidence, no linguistic connections, to support the idea of an ancient African presence in Mesoamerica. The features, they say, are beautifully and proudly Olmec. Each head wears a distinctive helmet-like headdress, which might signify their status as rulers, warriors, or perhaps even players in the sacred Mesoamerican ballgame. Some historians speculate that the heads are portraits of specific kings, and that upon a king's death a new stone was quarried and carved to immortalize him. This would mean that each head represents a generation of leadership, a stony dynasty watching over their people for eternity. It's a powerful image, a succession of divine rulers, their authority literally set in stone. So, what happened to the Olmecs? Around 400 BC, their civilization declined and eventually vanished. Their great centers like San Lorenzo and La Venta were abandoned. We don't know for sure why. It could have been environmental changes, like the silting of rivers that disrupted their agriculture, or it could have been internal conflict or invasion. Whatever the cause, their culture faded, leaving behind these silent stone sentinels as their most enduring legacy. For centuries, the heads lay buried under layers of earth, forgotten by time. It wasn't until the 19th century that they were rediscovered, sparking the curiosity and wonder that continues to this day. They challenge our assumptions about the capabilities of ancient peoples and the history of the Americas. Were they simply portraits of powerful local rulers, carved with incredible skill and effort? Or are they evidence of a lost chapter of human history, a hint of transatlantic voyages long before the age of exploration? The Olmec colossal heads don't give up their secrets easily. They sit in stoic silence, their expressions unreadable, leaving us to wonder and to dream. They are a testament to the ingenuity, power, and artistry of the Olmec people, a culture that laid the foundations for the Mayans and the Aztecs, but which remains shrouded in mystery. They remind us that our understanding of the past is always evolving, and that there are still giant questions waiting to be answered, hidden in the jungles of Mexico. What do you think? Are these powerful portraits of native rulers, or is there more to the story? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure into the unknown. See you next time. Have you ever wondered what secrets lie hidden beneath the waves? Not in the deep ocean, but high in the Andes Mountains, under the shimmering surface of Lake Titicaca. This isn't just any lake, it's the highest navigable lake in the world, straddling the border of Bolivia and Peru. For centuries, local legends spoke of a lost city, a sacred place swallowed by the water. Many dismissed these as mere folklore, the whispers of a forgotten time. But what if the legends were true? In the year 2000, an international team of archaeologists and divers in a project named Atahualpa 2000 embarked on an expedition that would change history. They weren't just searching for artifacts, they were searching for a lost world. Armed with advanced sonar technology and a deep respect for the Aymara and Quechua traditions, they plunged into the icy, crystal-clear depths of the lake. What they found was beyond their wildest expectations. Imagine this. You're descending into the quiet blue, the sun's rays filtering down from above. As your eyes adjust, shapes begin to emerge from the lake bed. These aren't just rocks. They are massive, meticulously carved stone blocks. You see long, paved roads stretching into the murky distance, a ceremonial temple over 650 feet long, and agricultural terraces still etched into the underwater landscape. This was no myth. This was a city, a sprawling, complex civilization that existed long before the famous Inca Empire ever rose to power. The scale of the discovery was staggering. The main temple, a massive structure, was found alongside a smaller temple and what appeared to be a semi-submerged island. Divers uncovered over 2,000 artifacts, including intricate pottery, gold fragments, and hauntingly beautiful anthropomorphic statues. These weren't crude relics. They were the works of a sophisticated society with advanced stonemasonry skills and a rich spiritual life. Geologists estimate that these structures are at least 1,500 years old, placing them in the era of the great Tiwanaku civilization, or perhaps even an earlier unknown culture. So, who were these people? The Tiwanaku civilization was one of the most important pre-Incan cultures in the Andes. Their capital city, also named Tiwanaku, lies about 12 miles from the lake's southern shore. It's famous for its monumental architecture, like the Gate of the Sun. The discovery under the lake suggests that their influence, or that of a predecessor culture, extended right into the heart of this sacred body of water. The lake wasn't a border. It was the center of their world. One of the most mind-boggling questions is, how did a city end up at the bottom of a lake? It wasn't a sudden cataclysm. Scientists believe that the lake's water levels have fluctuated dramatically over the centuries. Thousands of years ago, the lake was much lower, allowing this city to be built on what was then dry land, or a peninsula. Over time, due to climatic shifts, the water rose slowly and inexorably, reclaiming the land and preserving the city in a watery time capsule. The people would have had to retreat to higher ground, leaving their sacred places to the lake. Their stories of a sunken city, passed down through generations, were not myths, but memories. The artifacts tell a story of their own. The discovery of a large gold medallion depicting a face with rays emanating from it, similar to figures seen at the main Tiwanaku site, reinforces the connection between the land-based and underwater settlements. They also found ceramic incense burners shaped like pumas, a sacred animal in Andean cosmology, suggesting that these underwater temples were active sites of ritual and worship. These people weren't just living by the lake. They were living with it, spiritually and physically. Think about the engineering marvel of it all. Building massive stone structures, roads, and walls that have withstood over 1,000 years underwater. It speaks to a level of planning and craftsmanship that rivals many other great ancient civilizations. They understood their environment, they respected it, and they built to last. The underwater roads connect different parts of the complex, indicating a well-organized urban or ceremonial center. Lake Titicaca was considered the birthplace of the sun and the cradle of civilization by the Incas. Now, we have physical proof that its sacred status stretches back much further into the past. The underwater city of Tiwanaku, or whatever name its builders called it, is a testament to human resilience, ingenuity, and the enduring power of myth and memory. The exploration is far from over. The lake is vast and deep, and what has been discovered is likely just a fraction of what remains hidden. Future expeditions, using even more advanced technology like underwater drones and robotic submersibles, promise to reveal more secrets. Who knows what other temples, statues, or even written records might be waiting to be found in the silent depths? Each new artifact brings us closer to understanding the people who thrived in this high-altitude paradise so long ago. The lost city beneath Lake Titicaca is a powerful reminder that our world is still full of mysteries. It shows us that sometimes the greatest treasures are not buried in the sand, but submerged under the water, waiting patiently for us to look beneath the surface. It's a story that bridges the gap between science and legend, proving that the tales of our ancestors often hold more truth than we can possibly imagine. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey to the bottom of Lake Titicaca. If you're as fascinated by lost worlds and ancient mysteries as I am, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into the past. Let me know in the comments what other historical mysteries you'd like to explore. Until next time, keep questioning.